The city of Legoland, a peaceful place, at least, until... the earthquake. This is a public service announcement that aims to inform the people about earthquakes and explain how to be prepared for when one strikes you. Brought to you by
Falcon Punch!
Warning, drinking Falcon Punch will result in a superfluous amount of energy, shortly followed by death. And now, here's John, famous seismologist.
Hi, I'm John Henry, famous earthquakeologist.
That's seismologist, John.
Yes, seismologist. And I'm here to tell you about earthquakes. E5, Alex.
You sank my aircraft carrier, John.
Earthquakes happen by something called plate tectonics. Now, there are three ways plates can interact with each other. The first is convergent, where two plates meet head-on. The second is divergent, where two plates come apart like this. And the third is called transform. And transform is where two plates, like this, slide past each other. Now you should know everything there's ever been learned about earthquakes. Thank you.
Not quite, John. You see, the reason earthquakes occur when plates interact is because some part of the plate is breaking. I'll start with convergent. On a convergent boundary, the two plates collide head-on, causing a lot of energy to travel out, kinda like two cars crashing. As you can see from where I've drawn the arrow, that's where the plates are meeting, and they are colliding, causing them to break. And when they break, that's when the energy is released, which is what the earthquake you feel is. The shaking from the ground is energy being released through the earth from the plates breaking. Next up, we have divergent. A divergent boundary is different. Earthquakes happen when the plates separate, but since they were attached, the break causes the energy to be released because they're splitting apart. Think of any time you've broken a pencil in half and how it snapped. The same idea applies here to divergent boundaries. They snap. And last up is transform. Transform boundaries cause earthquakes because of friction. The two plates are not slicked up. They have jagged edges that grind and break against each other as they move. And the breaking is what causes the earthquakes at these boundaries. Now you may be wondering, what causes earthquakes in Washington, and what plates are interacting, and how? Well, you're about to find out. This is a map of the Cascadia subduction zone, and the plates are interacting in the northwest, including Washington. Now you may be asking yourself, what is this Cascadia subduction zone you speak of? Well, the Cascadia subduction zone is where the three plates on the left, the Explorer, the Juan de Fuca, and the Gorda plate, are diving under the North American plate, which can be seen on the right side of the purple jagged line. Remember this picture? Well, you should, because I only showed it to you a few minutes ago. Now, this picture shows something else other than a convergent boundary. It also shows subduction. Subduction is when two plates are colliding head-on, convergent, but one is denser than the other, the oceanic. The oceanic is more dense than the continental, so it dives under the continental, just like the arrows show. Back to this picture. So as you should know now, the purple jagged line is the Cascadia subduction zone, where the Explorer, the Juan de Fuca, and the Gorda are diving under the North American plate. So this must mean that it's a convergent boundary. So that's what causes most of our earthquakes. As you can see, the Explorer and the Juan de Fuca and the Gorda are also interacting with each other at the fracture zones you can see here. Not only that, but they're also interacting with the Pacific plate, which is on the left of all three of these. Here is a cross-section of the Cascadia subduction zone. Can you see where the subduction is going on? I'll give you a hint. It's right about here. So now you know where the subduction is going on. But if you look up, you'll see a bunch of volcanoes. Volcanoes are actually a product of subduction, because when the plate dives under, all the moisture in it evaporates, and when that gets into the mantle, it causes magma, and the magma flows up and causes the volcanoes to form. Yes, it's the Cascade Mountains. Now you should have a full understanding of what earthquakes are and why they occur. And now we will explain the dangers of earthquakes and how to prepare for them, to ensure that this never happens to you. When an earthquake hits, you need to be prepared and know all the dangers it holds. Earthquakes can cause falling objects, like parts of buildings and the ceiling above your head, volcanic eruptions, lahars, and a whole lot more. If you're inside when a quake hits, get under something. Some good ideas of places to hide are under tables, desks, chairs, or doorways. Not on top, but under them. When outside during a quake, get to higher ground. The higher, the better. This will also help protect against lava flow if a volcano erupts. The same applies for lahars and tsunamis. And now, back to you, John.
Earthquakes can happen at any time, and you need to be prepared. What you need is an earthquake survival kit. And an earthquake survival kit should have several things. And here I am to list them in front of you right now. First, you'll need a wrench, because after that earthquake, you'll have to tighten valves like water and gas so you don't poison or drown yourself. Second, you'll need a flashlight, because people are scared of the dark and you'll need to see around in it. It's hard to feel around for what you're finding. First aid kits are always a great idea, because when you're bleeding, first aid is very helpful. Sometimes you'll require a radio so you can communicate with people or listen to updates. Also a good idea on your list is food, because people get hungry. But if you have canned food, you will need a can opener. Now, one problem about earthquakes is if they level your house, you'll want some clothing and some blankets, and maybe a tent, for the obvious reasons. You may need some money with your earthquake, because you need to use payphone, but it's also a great idea to have your cell phone ready. Also, fire extinguishers are a good idea, because if your house catches on fire, you'll need to put it out. Or if there's a gas break and something starts burning, you should probably take care of it. And last, you'll want a barbecue or grill, because when you have all this food, you'll need to be able to cook it. Now that we've covered all the basic items in your survival kit, we have to talk about the two most important. Coming in at number 2 is water. Now, water is good for drinking, but has a very important role with your number 1 item, which I will show you now. Toothpaste. Now, who's going to want to save a person who has bad breath? You have to think about this. Now, the reason you have the water is, have you ever tried to brush your toothpaste without water? Brush your teeth without water, I'm sorry. But I get really emotional. So, you gotta put the little pea-sized drop, that's what they ask for. You dip it in the water, you know. You're watching, right? Small circles. After you've done it, you know. That's how you save yourself from an earthquake.